we've tricked them again.
So I'll let you know. It's just thinking.
I had a chance to leave the meeting then. This is being live streamed. Would you like to leave?
Yeah, I got leave.
That's it. We've got it. We're on. Welcome everyone. Hello. It is the 12th of November 2023. You've got me, Albert and Kevin. Welcome.
Hello.
You want to say hello, boys?
Evening all. Hope we're all well. As you can see, me and Albert are in the same location at the moment. The difference is Albert's up on the hill looking down at the bridge. You can't quite see me, but I'm on the actual bridge there, just by the first pillar there. I'm standing there, so if you zoom in, you find me. Hope everybody's well and safe. It's good to see you all.
I'm just posting in the domain.
I zoomed in, Kev. Couldn't see you.
Yeah, I'm behind the post, mate. You probably won't. I'm although it's luckily the girders
You're
are
not wearing
up.
a red jacket, are you?
I knew it. Oh yeah, I'm like, where's Wally?
Yeah.
I'll be in a minute, folks. I've just got to take stickers off me phone, and I'm not in the position at the moment.
So I'm just
sure you're all desperate to see my face.
Your boat race.
Mm-hmm.
Cut out for a title. SPL's SJL, Sovereign Justice League roundtable, if you want, for shorter paraphrasing. We're going to talk about the golden age of heroes. That's been lent heavily from Angkor Wat and the information we found that has been found within various cultures and temples in the annals of time, prophesized golden age. We're going to go back to your youth. For me, the 80s. For some others, 70s, 60s. I think the limit. There's Anders. We're all in. 2018. 8. Bosh. All right. I've posted the link in all the groups.
Anders calling.
Hello to Jerry, Stephen, what? I'll put the link in the chat for you. All right, fam.
Oh, it's on YouTube, isn't it? I'll go and put my tablet on in a minute.
Sorted the audio out. It should be clear as a bell. Anders' pad, it gets better every month. He is a man of talent. He's a man of the craft, isn't he? Look at that.
Hello.
Swedish.
Hi, mate.
How are you doing, Anders? What do you know? What are you saying? What are you sipping on?
Water. Just water from our local community well. Dig 160 meters down. We are taking the water here in the middle of the forest.
The Commonwealth. The Commonwealth. The Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Commonwealth to the Commonwealth of Sweden. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
You're looking dapper. He's looking dapper there. Yes, good to see you, Kevin, Anders, Bert. We'll wait for the room to fill up. Let us know how you are, Anders. What's going off? Have you got anything you want to say, or are you ready to sit back and relax and enjoy?
I think I start with relaxing and enjoying.
All right then, no problem. Suits you, sir.
Suits man.
You. Lisa, Eric, G, Stephen, thank you for joining.
Oh, I have to say, Lisa, I love you.
Oh, this ain't Tinder.
I know.
Share the love. So the premise, where are we going, which direction, what we want to do. We are continuing with the mission of seeking out new life and bringing it into the private. We want to form alliances, and we would like to bring to your attention, and we'd like to talk to you and invite you to our roundtable Sovereign Justice League, inspired by some of my favourite films, characters as a young star. I was fascinated by Superman's, Batman's, cartoons, books, various types of anime, computer games. I was properly indoctrinated with Sega, Nintendo, Atari, Commodore, Capcom, Neo Geo, Taisho, arcades, electronic forms of media, digital forms or analog forms as it was for us, videos, Betamax, and what did we have? I think there was 4 channels when I was a young boy, and some of them turned off at midnight. So there was no internet, there was no mobile phones. It was a different age. I'm sure for all of you on the call as well, you might want to add something about similar to what I've just done there. And in the room, I'd like you to type some of your recollections of being a young star and how life was like, what inspired you, what you was fascinated with. Star Wars obviously was one again there, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, just in, happy shopper. Have I said enough? I yield. Go. Anybody, take it to the stage.
Happy shopper.
Halfpence. You could go to the shop and buy sweets for half a penny. One sweet.
Oh yeah.
Halfpence. Halfpenny coins. Yeah.
Yeah, remember that well.
They're smiling at that one. Green Shield stamps. £1 notes. Come on.
Oh, me, Anne and I were talking about Green Shield stamps the other day. That was my job at home, was to put all the stamps in the books.
Embassy focus points. Sorry. Oh my days, eh? Co-op stamps. Yeah, things gone.
Yeah.
Back. We've seen a lot in our time. We've been inspired. Dukes of Hazzard, Street, Hawk, Airwolf.
Glass bottles that could be recycled. Oh, glass bottles.
I got you. Yeah. The Pop Man.
Yeah. Corona van driving around the streets and all that.
What vans?
Corona, that was the name of the firm down certainly in the south. And they used to literally drive around the street, lorry with all the drinks on the back.
Yeah, I remember it, Kev.
Yeah,
Corona.
Yeah, nice one.
And weird how they come out with COVID, Corona and all that crap, don't they?
Yeah.
That resonates in the brain.
Certainly does.
So we've set up a private Telegram mastermind chat group, and I've called it the Sovereign Justice League. It is a splinter off, a segue into an international roundtable of trusted souls where we can discuss our common problems from north to south, east to west, Scotland, Ireland, England, Wales. We got Sweden online with us right now in the form of man commonly known as Anders, also commonly known as Gansders. So we're going to discuss universal remedies for all of those areas, land masses, states, districts, independent private regulators of law, science, finance, education, spirituality, religion, language, health, wealth. I'm not going to carry on, you get the idea, plus lots more, whatever you can bring to that table. And we are interested in. We've all got transferable skills. We're all very talented, intelligent, human doings. Human is not a word for monster, because we are speaking for the purposes of clarity and the avoidances of doubt. Plain, simple English. In fact, my mother's tongue, don't know. I'm speaking my mother's tongue. David's mum's tongue, never seen it. The mother's tongue, as it's commonly known. Okay, so we would classify ourselves, anybody that's questioned authority, that's helped anybody get out of the creek without a paddle back to shore. We are independent private regulators. Yes, and we are creating a round table. So instead of the sovereign just a play on word, anybody that knows the Jack Snyder editions of DC comics, films, etc., heroes, the golden age of heroes, Angkor Wat, we're linking it in, we're making it a bit fun. We're talking Goonies, A-Team, 80s, 70s, 90s, noughties, etc. I want to bring a little bit of commonality, see what we've got in common with regards to our past times, the good times, T-I-M-E and T-Y-M-E. So that group that we've created is the home of our national and international roundtable. We're going to look to add trusted souls into that have already got a voice for their community, that have got some narrative to express, some skin in the game. We're looking to establish a decentralised alliance and a support network between the districts of the various land masses here and abroad. We discussed doing this some years ago, and it is now time for action. This is the beginning of our national international roundtable. We are moving towards, as I've said, a decentralised network of private living souls, essentially. No money is required, but there is no money, as Bert will definitely tell you. Cash, credit, transfer of energy is the only thing that is required in the form of your intellect and your care, your soulful ability to give. A little bit of effort. We need to try and talk amongst one another and recommend ideas and solutions for the good of all. What's worked for us, what's definitely worked, what we can call a remedy, what is established to work time and time again with the same result, we will bring to the table. We're going to collate everything that we've got that is rock solid, okay, between us all. We're going to share all of that. We're going to form an alliance, an agreement, a trust in the form of this Justice League or Round Table. We're going to present once again and continue to present our universal non-sectarian remedy, where we are going to declare the world's resources our common heritage in a nutshell. So we are calling all living souls and authentic beings to start doing, from human beings to human doings. And if you would like to work with us, or this sounds something of which pricks your ears up, builds up your self-esteem, lights your litmus, lights your fuse paper and ignites the rocket, then send us an email to contact@splspro.com. The subject would be Roundtable, and we're looking to form a golden age of heroes, a sovereign council, roundtable, mastermind, Justice League. We're just trying to hype it up a little bit there. The Sovereign Justice League, the souls shall be the steering direction. All souls will be equal, and together we shall decide as one mastermind and one voice. So I won't have control, Kevin, Anders, whoever's there. It will be very much the majority vote will win. Will carry forward. We'll have discussions, argumentation. We'll see what direction we'll present our known remedies, our insight, our knowledge. We will impart that. We will present documents, and reasons for. We will present evidence, case law, precedents, landmark rulings. We will evidence everything that we bring to the table. So if we tell you something is good, then you can take that to the bank and say, promises, etc. Fiat, currency, money, cash. We had a loan and now we've got a mortgage, but can you tell me where the funding for that loan came from, which this mortgage, this future security interest is based upon? Because we believe, things like that. We're getting to the crux of it all now, but we have to be careful what we bring to the public, what we speak about in the public. There is online safety bills and national patriot acts, and they've been very clever and conniving. The man, the establishment, the state, the narrative, the institutions. They They like what they've got, and they're not willing to give it up easily. So we recognise the protection of the private. We recognise that we need to build our resources, and we are calling for past, present, and yet to be heroes. You are invited to attend tonight's live and interactive show. During this show, we shall also reminisce about our favourite childhood pastimes, films, foods, hobbies, and memories. So get writing down a list. Start typing in the chat room what inspired you, what made you when you're a master, as it is. I'd argue we're all masters still now, but when you're a young star, when you're knee-high to a grasshopper, building ramps for your BMX and your rally grifters and drifters and choppers and etc., and playing out and not having a care in the world, we was all inspired by various media, public, commercial presentations, films, movies, actors, books, games, etc. So we can't argue with that. Some of it was highly beneficial. The A-Team, the beginning of that, just go and find the A-Team and listen to the crack commando team. In the beginning there was, and how, things such as that. And then we grow up and we lose that yearning, we lose the dreams, we knuckle down, we present the birth certificate as evidence of identity when clearly it says at the bottom that's not what it's for, and the rest is but history. So, that's essentially what we're doing here today. Kevin may or may not want to incite you with regards to some good news, some updates with regards to what is possible when we are dealing with the state and its agents, and the work that he's doing with others is highly commendable. He is a living legend and a true hero, as much as Anders, Albert and myself is. Albert's got a halo on him at the minute. You've got a bright light somewhere, brother, and you're very halo-y, I might just say. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll yield and read the room, and I'll let one of you three good souls take it to the stage. Thank you all.
Oh, there. Oh, look, there we are. Remembered how to work everything. Yeah, I mean, we still the DWP stuff. Just in the last 2 to 3 months, 6 people, got some of them got the knockback, so we did a mandatory reconsideration. Some of them were given a straight no on the most ridiculous reason, so that's gone in again. But as far as I know, everybody's had a result. Anybody who got underscored, we got that corrected, so they're getting the right amount of monies. But yeah, I can't really mention the names, but yeah, the last 2 or 3 months, 6, 7 people, and one little success I had helping a young woman out with an alleged debt. So that was a sort of she's got mental health problems, and so her father was dealing with it, and he's like in his I think he was in his 80s. And then I came along. Stop your father writing, speaking to these people, do your letter, send it. So it was the basic, unsolicited goods and services. That's all. Terms and conditions. Yeah, who gave you the data? Like we didn't know. But yeah, report to the ICO and report to the Solicitors Regulation Authority. And here's the schedule of fees if you do want to do business with me. Well, not with me, but with the girl. And yeah, that's been probably 60 days now. So nothing. I did warn her. I said, yeah, they might try and get it through another avenue, but don't worry, we'll just deal with them the same way. So, but yeah, DWP stuff that we've put out there, as I say, it's absolutely 100% proven now. One, we know it's not mandatory, but if you stand your ground and you on a paper-based review, yeah, they might jerk you around. They seem to be jerking you around more on if you're claiming it through universal credit. But you will win. Absolutely. This girl's just got no assessment, nothing. Absolutely not refused. Paper-based review all the way along, and now she's just been awarded enhanced on the care component. So it just shows you, stand your ground, it works. Force them to use the information that they've got, and they're not meant to have as well, but they don't, you know. You just put them in a hard place. And yeah, so we're still running, as I speak to you now, at 100% success rate. Nobody's failed. They may have been jerked around a bit, but I warn everybody about that right at the beginning. You know, if these people are going to be bastards, believe me, even if you're trying everything at them, they're going to be bastards. So you be prepared, but you will win ultimately. So yeah, it's been a nice little run. I was saying today before we started broadcasting, the first half of the year, I don't really have any recollection, but I haven't stopped this year. I was helping another mate out with like his management agents and that. That was quite busy the earlier part of the year, and we had quite a bit of success there too. So yeah, it's been a good year for results, but specifically in obviously the DWP is the major one. That's what I mostly deal with, for people or with people. But it's nice when you get people that you can tell. I mean, I'll always be there on the end of a phone if I'm needed. You need some info or, you know, my ideas of what I do, then that's what I impart on people, and and they run with it, and everybody's having results, which is good. But you know, when this thing first started, it was all documents. I'm so glad that's ended. I can tell you. No, it's just phone calls and stuff. But yeah, we've had a good little run this year, and I must say, as I say, I and me and we, I don't mean to forget Graham, who's been absolutely an integral part of this whole thing. It was him and I that started this off and threw ourselves under the bus, etc., to test stuff out. And so yeah, Graham's always there too. So it's been a good year this year. Quite, you know, a few people through corrections, been given standard care and standard mobility, and I've got them put up to enhanced, and that's just on the mandatory reconsideration. So they don't actually. You just basically get told, "Oh, you asked us to look at your claim again," and then they change it. But that's how they get out of it, because they use the mandatory and they say, right, we're not just going to look at our decision, which is what you're asking them to do. We're going to look at the whole claim again. So that's how they sort of get round not being held to account, if you see what I mean. Sneaky little shit that they are. But yeah, as I say, it's been a good year, especially the last, say, maybe 3-4 months, 2-3-4 months. I've got no idea about time anymore.
It all merges and blurs into one. Yes, time is subjective, objective. It drags when you're not enjoying yourself. It goes really fast when you're having fun. It's when I say subjective, you know, and objective. Newton's, Einstein's theories, relativities, theorems, etc. So yeah, well done. You've got a lot to be proud of. You've done a lot of great work there. You've helped others achieve what seems like the unachievable.
And oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not going to say too much, but I've set up a little game. I've had a game in a little game plan, and anyway, so I've recently reapplied for PIT and everything, and I was I was really expecting them to fuck with me because they're bastards, even though they lost to me twice. And they didn't, and I couldn't believe I got in 2 weeks the money was in the bank. That's unheard of, absolutely unheard of. So I don't know what's going on. Well, there's a big change going on, but yeah. So I've just got mine reinstated, and but I sort of played the game for nearly 5 years, I suppose. And now I'm going to bring the game to them, see if they've learnt anything. So I'll report on that as and when. I don't really want to say too much on a broadcast, if you know what I mean, because you never know who's listening.
I'm not. What? Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was away with a fair. No.
Ah, typical. No, Maria Fields.
Yes.
I'm trying to get into. Oh look, there he is. Big banner at the top telling me Indigo. Sorry, I've just started up my laptop.
Banner, David Banner, Gamma Ray, Credible Bulk. That was another classic.
Yeah.
This one's a bit scary. Just screen sharing some nostalgia from the 80s from my time as a young star as well. I actually prepared some. You may or may not remember. Bert, you've got anything you want to say? Anders, you want to chip into what Kevin's just said there, or input, comments, feedback?
No, not really here. Not really yet. Because you have your English memories, and you was writing before that we're going to talk about what's happened the last year, but now I'm getting very confused here. That's the last decennia or millennia almost, That's 1,000 years ago now.
I said we shall also reminisce about our favourite childhood pastimes, films, foods, hobbies and memories.
Ah, yeah.
Station.
Yeah.
Come on, Manders.
I can't comment on what Kev's been up to, obviously, because Kev can only state that. So, and he's a good lad for pushing on and pushing on. So, yeah. But your picture, David, I remember the old Cabbage Patch dolls. And you get a little certificate of authenticity.
Oh,
yeah, it's been registered. No, that's what you used to get with them. Yeah. It's a registered doll, isn't it?
A real live doll. Yeah. The merchandising, merchants, mercy, it's everywhere when we break it down as grown, living, experienced souls, souls with wisdom, living souls with greyness appearing and bald patches. Now we can reflect back and see it was all corporate, commercial. It was entertaining. We was led down the garden path somewhat, but it didn't do us any harm in many ways, not as much as it does today. It's a shame that we don't know. It's a shame that we know now too late. We found out quite a lot of information later on when it's a detriment to us not knowing that when we are in the earlier stages of life. If the schools, the academies, the trusts were to educate us in the transparency of money, what money is, cash, instead of learning about triangles and trigonometry and algebra, why couldn't they have said, right, everybody, boys and girls, what we've got here is the Bank of England, and what we've got here is a thing called money. Money and intrinsic value we're discussing today. We're going to discuss how the economic, financial, fiscal, monetary system, cash system as it is now then, works. We'll talk about bankruptcy. Nothing, no clear, concise, transparent education, knowledge, foresight, preparation of anything to do with money. But you need to know about the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to, and you're like, what? Algebra, trigonometry, Pythagoras theorem. All right, Pythagoras was probably a bit more in areas where we want to meet, but law, language, civics. And if you get into trouble, we had RE education and such things like PE and lessons that you would have looked forward to and lessons that you didn't look forward to. But if in those lessons they taught us, relevant, tangible, coherent aspects of life to be when we leave the indoctrination academies, schools, then we can appreciate now that this is what we're trying to do. We're building the boat as we sail it in some respects in the form of lawful remedies for legal charges against thy person, looking at the Bible and the translations of the scriptures of the KJV, because that's what the London Law Society's law 10 maxims of commercial law are based upon. Cash, money, fiat, intrinsic, non-intrinsic value, worth, bonds, trusts, how contracts and things legal, when you verbally express something and make an agreement, whether it be private or public, commercial, non-commercial, last will and testament, powers of attorney, just touching, we could have, so this is what we're looking at now, is to recognise that we were severely handicapped, we was ill-equipped. It's a bit like Walt Disney, I suppose. Not a bit like Walt Disney, but I can segue in Walt Disney films where we was led to believe that when we grow up we'll meet a beautiful princess and life will be happily ever after, and we get to leave the Disney realm and we leave school. We enter the age of 18, adulthood, and we interact commercially, legally. We go from master to mister, and we find out that it was all bullshit. Walt Disney. I didn't live a fairy tale life at all. There was a scary man knocking at the door for money at one point. There was the officers, the police, being homeless, being in the detriment of the lows of life, amongst the highs of life. I left home at 15. I was forced to leave, so my origin story is much the same as many other, but they're not here and I am, so I can relate and tell you. When we was definitely ill-equipped, we didn't understand the language, the law, the money, and at a tender age of 15, having to fend for myself, I had to learn quick and think on my feet and learn to defend myself. And the state did actually help me, albeit by allegedly accessing the treasury services which are there for us, under bankruptcy and the cash system that we have in the treasury department, and the the entitlements that we claim through the government, known as benefits back then, and gyro credits and signing on. UB40, there's one from the past then. Did anybody remember having a UB40 book to sign on at the job centre? And they had little cards on the wall that you'd take and say, I'm interested in, That's where the obviously Ali Campbell from UB40, I believe, named the band from being unemployed on the dole. So yeah, I can't say it was all bad, but had we, at the point of the careers officer saying to me at school, so David, when you leave school, you've got some decisions to make. What career do you want to go into? Obviously, the army was pushed forward, and the services are a standard. What they, I believe they are paid to to mention that to us, because that's always good for folks like me. For young souls like me that was delinquent and classified as delinquent, a trouble causer, a waster, and just generally, up to no good. And I would have said, I would like access to the alternative provisions in the form of equitable relief. Careers officer, how's about that? I don't want to be a slave and feed the system and add to the national debt. I believe there is an alternative provision set aside for us, my weight in gold, my land. Can you confirm or deny? You know, if we would have known then what we know now, I would have put that to the careers officer at that moment and says, can you facilitate that? Because that's what I'm down for. Why not?
You'd have been in the gulag before you knew it, mate.
You know,
grab hold of your jacket, back of the neck, in you go, you loom bag. Can I just say quickly, hello to everyone in the room, Steve, etc., but especially Miss Lisa Gray and James. I was wondering the other day, I wonder if Lisa's middle name is 50 Shades of, or something like that.
Oh,
Just
that's
a
a
thought.
low blow. Kevin, for you, that's poor, that is. I'll say it before Lisa does.
Just a laugh. No, I hope you're well up there in the wilderness, you loom bags. Hope James is okay. Hope the family are okay. It's lovely to see you. It's been a while.
Up there in the northern cold, I bet it's chilly up there now. I hope you've got your fire on and your woolies. I'm just checking the room. Phil's comment there about Kevin, you're helping folk claim lost at sea, present day shekels, entitled thus, not knowing what is possible, owed, claimable under trusteeship, construct, citizens' advice, finished. Thank you, Phil. That's what we do. We don't give legal advice. We duly inform you as independent private regulators, and with the foundation charitable education trust that we have, then we duly inform, and we give you information which is pertinent for you to know, which you might not be privy to, which can often, in most cases, propel you forward into areas of which are highly beneficial for you. So, yep, thank you for that. We've all got our specialist areas. So with this Alliance, Sovereign Justice League, the Round Table, if we can collect others that have got an established precedent, an established status, their names, if you've got anybody that you think might be worthy of us reaching out to, that sounds a bit big-headed, but you know what I mean. We can't have agents and shills. All right, we need to know if you've got I saw something that I posted. Somebody sent me an email, and I had to let the admins know this is a joke. It was called, and I'm not slandering. This is actual true, but Albert, we chatted about this earlier. What was it now? What was that? Here it is. Contact us. The English Counties Assembly is a growing group of English people acting upon their public duty as guardians, caretakers and lawful inheritors of the land. That sounds dangerous straight away as well. The land of soil of England, to rebuild our true government where we can self-govern, good self-governance. So let's start again. The English Counties Assembly is a growing group of English people acting, we execute deeds upon their public duty as guardians, caretakers and lawful inheritors of the land and soil of England, to rebuild our true government, repopulate our land and reclaim our birthright political status as the sovereign people from whom all political powers in this nation is derived. So when somebody emailed me this, I thought that's interesting. The English Counties Assembly sounds similar to vein of thought to what we're on with, or train of thought to what we are on with our continuing mission. So I pressed about us, and it says working closely with Anna von Reitz, AnnaVonReitz.com of the American States Assembly, We have adapted a series of documents which can be used to correct your political status, returning your lawful person, well, your good name to the land and soil of England by revoking any claim counter to this and ensuring that you are protected from the realms of international law of the air and sea and reconveying you home to our original counties. Well, we'll just say we've dealt with Anna von Reitz, first-hand knowledge, and she's not in this country, but yet, as far as I'm aware, and she's spearheading and helping the English Counties Assembly by counting people together, by acting, and then their public duty as guardians, caretakers, and lawful inheritors of the land from all the way across the pond and the soil of England to rebuild our true government when we don't actually need government. Arguably, some people do need governing, and not everybody is conscionable. We'll let that ride. They want to repopulate our land. What with? How is that? That I would argue that's a bit ambiguous. And reclaim our birthright. It sounds like they've got a lot to gain, and they're claiming a lot. But that lady there, when she uses things like the rule of law, and they claim to be thought leaders and intellectual leading names and souls in the field of the freedom thought movement. Error 101, basic oxymoronic statements. We pick up on that. We say red flag. We say red flag to certain names. So when we talk about this council and the Justice League and what we're doing here, we would like to get some recommendations and consider them. And we would like to see some names of others that you think are to stay away from and why, such as maybe like John Smith, the Common Law Court, perhaps. There's a big one there. So for and pros and cons. And if you want to comment, anybody, on what I've just read to you regarding the email sent to me saying, David, check out the English Counties Assembly, and that paragraph I read, then I think you'll pick up what I picked up from. I yield. Epic fail. From across the pond.
Well, sovereign and people shouldn't be in the same sentence for a start, should it?
No.
Yeah. And when you're building a website like that, you've got to get your words right, I think. Yeah, most definitely.
It's just epic fail.
I agree.
They mean well. Are they fishing? Are they trying to get, just if you're going to do, I know we've made errors and mistakes, omissions and etc. People, souls say to me, David, I struggle to understand your writing, and I'm like, good, I'm glad, because it's different, because we have a different perspective, let alone the dyslexia and the bad grammar and the autism, ADHD aspect. Back to one side, the way that we write you, and with the way that we use the U's, and we look at the U tree, the lamb U, YEW, EWE, the way that we spell and use you, who is you, YOU, the letter U, USE, use, YOU, apostrophe S, use. So that's what we specialise in. So if it does confound your thinking and it makes your brain stop and have to rewind and read again and Scotch tape video advert, re-record and play it again. Remember him? Re-record and play it again. Scotch tape videos back in the day. See, that's what we're aiming to do. We want to break that train of thought. We want to show you the other paradigm, not just talk about public and legal and private remedy and contrast legal and law, persons, mans, humans, souls, Bibles, chapter, verses, maxims, equity, trust, admiralty, maritime, tort, contract, and etc. We are here to show you, to fracture your mind, but in a nice way, not like a psychopathic, narcissistic, sociopathic minister of doom and gloom from the castle of Grayskull. Hey man, so there you go. I rest my case. I need help. Bless up.
Might be too late.
Yeah, my mum had me tested. It turns out I don't need help.
Yeah. Not the sort of help that they can supply anyway, yeah.
So yes, there are others out there trying, and we're willing to work with them. It isn't the Kevin, Anders, David know it all. We are a one, stop shop, but we have amassed between us, and with your input, with the correspondence, the emails, the documents, the work that we've done across the last 10 years, the last 10 years, we can help others grow, and they in turn can help us grow if we start sharing and forming this alliance, this common unity, a cooperative, then we will be unstoppable. We need a decentralised private network. When we talk of alternative provisions coming from the state in the form of equitable relief for the capital gains made by the commercial investment of said future promises, future security instruments, securitisation and so forth, we've also got our own resources, energy, property, wealth to look at and to share. We've got ideas on how to revenue generate with very little input, much like the travelling communities or other separate communities that coexist with us, so we're willing to work with not everybody, because some of them are shills and agents and trolls and nefarious narcissistics, sociopaths of doom, and we will say no. And we will tell you why. But the others that are out there that are stumbling and fumbling, much like we have done, we still continue to do, we believe that we can create a beneficial union, and we will pool our resources. But we have set our precedents. We have got our integrity mostly intact. I'd like to think so. We're still here. We haven't disappeared. We're working towards ultimate remedy with regards to the surety for the implied trust, public trust that we are aware of. We're not looking for payouts of millions on the TDA and certified persons certificates, but we are looking at claiming remedy, like I've said, in the form of equitable relief in alternative provisions. So we are very, very close to that. We've kept on our agreements, our words, our bonds, and taught you about the public and the private and the protections and the benefits and how to navigate back to shore in stormy waters without a compass, in the dark, in a storm. So we're in a good place. But we've been talking, Anders, Kevin, Bert, myself, about the direction and what we need to do and the state of play, the various wars going on in Europe, the Middle East, the politics. Even if we do what we do, the world will still be the world. But eventually, if we carry on doing what we're doing and you help us and we help one another and we form a unison, an alliance, a partnership equivalent of a private decentralised movement, then I believe over time it will only grow from strength to strength. We will share the knowledge, which will turn into power. Knowledge used properly not only is power, but will relate into wisdom. And our unborn lineage and our bloodlines will profit from that. We will use every resource we have available, but we will not have our kindness mistaken for weakness, which is what we've been guilty of quite a lot in the past. So we have to be careful about what we do and how we do it. But I'd like to think that this channel, these souls are here, and our trust has remained true to its word to the fullest of our ability. We're all in servitude. Myself, Bert, I'll say all, 50% of us. Kevin and Anders are actually in other areas of life, which I'm not privy to disclose. But time is limited for us all. Resources are limited for us all. And we need to actually see what we can build upon before we think about retiring. That's as real as it is. I've had the discussion with these four and some others saying, where are we going, what are we doing? There's a lot out there making noise, making action, resisting, fighting, which is what we need to do. But it'd be great if we could actually continue to do this and pool our resources. I yield.
Right, you've yielded. I'm gonna go dark for about 5 minutes. I will be here. I'll be listening, but I'm gonna be muted and off the video for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Anders, Bert, do you want to comment on anything I've just said there? Please feel free. I'll check the room.
I was just out having a smoke, so I didn't hear what you said the last minute.
You'll have to rewind then, selector. Sorry. All right. Bert, it's all on you then. It's all on Bert.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you didn't hear.
Yeah,
Well,
why,
the
why is it
savior.
all on me?
It's all on you.
I've got a halo I'm trying to get rid of.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all? Yes.
Yeah. No matter where I move, it's on me. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm not sure though, David, because so many souls for years we've seen it. Everybody's going in different directions. It's got their own kind of thing going off. They all want to make a few quid. So, it's a hard thing, So, what we can do is just carry on regardless and sort out one's home and self, really, to protect oneself. And I'm sure, as we progress, others will follow,
That's it, yeah. We don't claim to have all the answers.
Well said.
We can see what the options are. We're aware. We've sorted our own affairs out as best as we can with the knowledge and the ability and the resources that we have. And we're in a lot better place than we was. But the others out there, the less abled, the actual physically and mentally disabled, are at the mercy of the legal commercial state system, guardianship. We've got others that are willing to, that want to take control of their estates, of their lives, of the direction for the family. They want stability, security, with regards to legal interactions, legal claims, duties and obligations at common law level. We've seen with interactions with debt collection agents, that's the DCA, third party officious intermeddlers, police officers, sometimes constables, but they're few and far between, constables, and officers, agents, principals, instructing principals. We've been told one thing, and then when we would require proofs of claim, we slow it down. We've proven with regards to commercial interactions, we've brought to you the notice of removal of implied rights of access. We've brought to you that all visitors are to be seen strictly by appointment. There were groups out there. We've been privy to join some with regards to what Stephen's doing, with regards to what Pickle Rick, Gherkin and other lad from the Resistance chat on Telegram, from other Facebook groups, from other Telegram groups, from YouTube channels. There's a lot of good being done out there, but what we're saying is we want to expand on this, and I think we've got a level of trust and dignity, and we've got between us all, not just based on me but on others, work in our field and our circle, and we would like to see if others have got remedy and it's in the public, then we will look at that, and we get presented with alleged remedies and what others are doing, and we see the good work others are doing and the good intent they've got, and then we will promote that. We could do with a website, with building a website, to go with this roundtable where we can endorse others and others can endorse us, but we could do with like a .org page where you've got various specialist areas with proven track record, with honour and integrity, that we have independently, privately vetted, looked at, engaged with, chatted to, looked at the substance, the claim, and then we can work and build that way as well. It doesn't have to be an alliance as such, physical interaction, weekly, monthly or whatever, but we can actually look to start to promote those that are having wins, that are having triumphs, that are having remedy, that are having success, that's word of mouth kind of a thing as well. So there's time is getting critical for us to do this, and for our future unborn lineage, for our families. We can teach you so much, we can duly inform you so much, but it's you that will have to. It is the living soul, the authentic being, the viewer, the scribes, the initiates, the souls that will have to make a decision. You can obviously follow and support whoever, you know, and whatever, but we need that aspect of solidarity returning. We need trust returning, and we need to recognise we've all made mistakes, we've all got things wrong, we've all been hoodwinked, we've all got more that unites us than divides us, and we're all on the same land masses, and we've all got good intentions and conscionable behaviour at hand. So I think it's about time now that we start to gain the resources and the support. We join in numbers, and then when we go to the state, the crown, the monarchy, the world leaders, the ministers, the trustees, the offices, the agents, etc., then we will be a force to be reckoned with, rather than just being a soul, singular, escaping the matrix, never to be seen again for one's own self-gain. You know, we're trying to change the proposition, the prospect of what we can do. If it's good for one, it's good for all, you know. So we will use everything we've got. We've finished building the boat, and we've set sail, and we're looking to anchor on new lands, to plant our feet on wholesome, moral, ethical areas of which to stop existing and to start to live. And we're willing, like I say, to open our arms, to open our resources, to share, to facilitate, and to include everybody, all creeds, all races, all trains of thought. And I think that with a little effort and removing the ego and the aggression and burying past hatchets, if you like, I think it will do us good stead. There's a lot to be gained, and there's everything to lose. And if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything, as the old adage goes. Yeah. So what do we stand for? Where do we stand? Who do we stand with? I yield. Let me look at the room. In my Arctic high school, we had courses such as driver's ed, gun safety course, survival courses, psychology. I recall a great class entitled Words, Wit and Wisdom, but that was Gnome in the 70s. Wow, that's epic. Thank you, Lisa. That's a real insight. Gun safety courses. In my Arctic high school, they had gun safety courses. Driver's ed, great. Survival courses, because up that way, you're going to need to know how to survive, the survival of the fittest. Words, wit and wisdom. That's what we've got right here with me, Anders and Kevin.
Well said, Lisa.
Go on.
No, Lisa's last comment is about 2 up from the bottom. On my feed it is anyway. She says, intelligence isn't knowing everything. It's having the ability to challenge everything you know, which is perfect.
Bosh. Leave my rights alone. I can't believe I fell for the BS. They put your information into a computer and it chose your career. Wow. Yeah. That's exactly.
Mental.
What we got there? I remember having a UB40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying, David, earlier, like half of the maths and stuff, like algebras and whatever, there's only a specific role that, you know, that comes in handy. Do you know what I mean? But you spend quite a lot of time working out what A blooming equals B and all this, you know. I can't vaguely remember it because it was useless, you know. So, but like moving on, like, you know, even they haven't, because my boy, he's asked me a few times with his math stuff and whatever, and I look at it and it's just so crazy, the stuff that they're doing, working out from A, B, what is what, and, you know, with divides and stuff. It's just so, even he struggles, do you know what I mean? And I think, where is he going to be using this? It's totally
They've overcomplicated it, haven't they?
Yeah, Yeah.
Some of the ways they teach
Yeah,
them now
is
to
it
add,
intentional?
subtract,
Yeah.
it's mental. But then again, is that is that on purpose? You know, it just seems. Why would you make it that difficult, especially at those young ages? Fuck's sake. Anyway, what do I know?
Yeah.
I know I'm an idiot.
Yeah. But it could be more, you know, useful life skills and such
Yeah,
like
but I mean,
that.
even
Yeah.
you know, there was stuff like metalwork, woodwork, even at, you know, at school. I don't think you get any of that now. Home economics,
Yeah.
bit of cooking, shit like that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
where's all that now?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
God.
I'm
You give
one
half
of the
of these-
oldest.
Eroded by finances, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I'm one
even
of the.
now, yeah, when my boy's done a bit of it, a few sessions, and then we have to send all the ingredients in. Like, we got to buy them the
Yeah.
ingredients. Yeah.
yeah.
Go, Anders. It's your time. Go in. Anders now.
No, I forgot what I should say now. You know, I have this short memory span.
I hate that.
Oh, I'm living in
Sorry,
the
Anders.
now. I'm just living in the now. So it's like
I do that
gone.
all the time.
Gone.
My missus
Yeah.
speaks. I'm talking about something. She'll say something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it an interruption, and then I go, "What the hell was I talking about?"
Yeah.
Gone.
It was
Not a
about,
clue.
they were on about maths and education and how complicated it is. The school
Well,
teachers.
that how they're
Yeah.
making it.
Yes. Oh, okay. When we was growing up, and that's the 80s then, because I'm born 68. And
Oh, you spring chicken.
yeah. Spring chicken. 55 this year. So, but anyway,
57.
we was having the scouts, and then there you was learning everything about fire, making fires and everything, surviving, you know, fruits and yeah, everything. And then we was having voluntary military, so you could go out and shoot. As a 16-year-old guy, you could go with the military and have a gun there and shoot. That was really funny, you know. And then
Excellent.
yeah, and you can there was a lot of practical stuffs then, lots of practical stuffs. But I remember when the computer was coming, because we had a technical group doing electronics, like FM senders, you know, doing small radios that you could hack
Yeah.
into the television, you know, so you can go around and speak, and everybody was looking out of the window. What is this? Who is talking? Anyway, then he was having one of the first home computers. So the whole class was going home to his place to look at his computer with cassette tapes, turbo cassettes. You put in a cassette and it was turbo loading. It was like really primitive then, you know. But we was doing practical stuff the whole time. And then when you are together, loads of people, then you get the moralic value together. Now people are not together anymore. Then that moralic value goes away.
That's
It
what.
Yeah, the
disappears.
community spirit's definitely departed. That's a
Yes.
massive loss to humanity. That is.
The master brain, yeah, like a company has a board of directors, so not just one brain running and making. I know there's chief execs and officers and finance and operations officers, but they have boards and they have more than one, don't they? They have heads of, so meetings of, and they all agree and manage and talk and debate. So mastermind principle, I think it might be Think and Grow Yourself Rich. Who wrote that? Who's that? That wisdom from? And when you was on about tapes, remember when your tape chewed up and you had to get it out and get a biro and get the
Yeah,
the teeth and spool it back together. Videos
yeah.
chewing it up, tapes chewing it up, yeah. Tapes in
Or it
general.
got or it got caught in the capstan roller, didn't it?
In the pardon, what? Who?
In the capstan roller, the tape used to get caught in it. That's why it'll get chewed up. You winding it back in, trying to keep it as flat as possible.
Where it'd suddenly go into chipmunks or high speed mode when you was listening and you knew you
Oh yeah,
eject your Walkman and out of the Walkman would come a whole world of just brown tape and you were like, oh, well, but New Kids on the Block, Michael Jackson, whatever it was, for whoever, whatever it was, you know, just, yeah, dealing with that. Napoleon Hill, Mastermind, yeah, Think and Grow Rich was a book written by Napoleon Hill and released in 1937. Mastermind, yeah. Boom, Tracy Ralph, 10 sovereign points to you, yeah.
right. I'm going to go off camera. So I'm going to smoke by the door.
Got anything else we want to talk about? Chat room, scribes, fam, men.
What was I going to say? Just as a bit of a tangent, but something that came up recently. Did you see that thing about Disney, where Ron DeSantis, because he's the governor of California, is he not? I think. Don't quote me. Or was it Florida? Maybe Florida, where Disney World is, and he tried to impose a tax on them. And I did put it up in the group. I know I sent it to David, but they basically turned around and said, get fucked. We're not under your jurisdiction. We're still under the Crown of England. We're under English jurisdiction here in Florida. And so that was the end of that. They didn't have to comply, allegedly. It was very interesting. It was only a short thing.
I do remember reading that, and it was most insightful. It said the King, yeah, and it referenced the King and jurisdiction. Walt Disney, Florida is under English jurisdiction. England. That would be. It's not the King. No, it would be United Kingdom because Elizabeth was the Queen of the United Kingdom. So British United Kingdom. It was used ambiguously, but I'd argue, yeah, it wasn't under the Florida state jurisdiction as you would imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis.
That's right. They said they were outside of it because it was still Crown land. And that's who the jurisdiction's under. Very interesting. Although, as many of us may have heard, it never, ever was America anyway. It's always been Crown property. As the story goes, and the Revolutionary Wars and all that, it's all bollocks, and none of it would surprise us, would it? Let's be fair.
Yeah, jurisdiction is not as obvious. It's transferable. It just like people, souls. Others have asked if you are here in England and you have a birth certificate, a driving license, a national insurance number. Then David, I'm sorry, but you are duly obligated and assumed and presumed to follow the laws of the land. And I'm like, okay, you've just said laws of the land. What are they? And who am I? And if you've got assumptions and presumptions about who I am, I can prove to you who I am. I do in fact know myself, and I know of the various laws that operate. So by me being sovereign, knowing truth, speaking truth, and able to recite from memory and heart who this soul in this vessel is, incarnate in this meat skin, then I'm afraid that your assumptions and your claims to me about me, David, having to be subject to the laws of the land are in fact false, and I can prove that and rebut it right now. And I did so, and they went, oh, you've got an answer for everything. This was a chat at work at the time, but they did actually come back later on and goes, I've checked out some of that stuff that you've said, And they came back to me with the Ansa Coulis and Harry Dunn's report article, where they claimed diplomatic immunity, where embassies and certain things and air bases and foreign territories are actually of the territory which they represent, not the foreign territory of which they physically occupy. And also impunity. We talked about impunity with the Queen, the monarchy. If any of you have paid attention to the Queen's speech back in the day, or the monarchical speeches, as we'll rephrase it, it does say above the fireplace in Latin with regards to impunity. We'd argue at common law levels, and when you've got a victim, that there is no impunity. You will be held to account, and you do need to make remedy and redress for the wrongdoings and the mishaps that you've accidentally or knowingly done. But with regards to legal public persons, then yeah, the argumentation, this is why the beauty of our universal non-sectarian homegrown grassroots remedy will always stand, and it's irrefutable, and it is universal with regards to scripture and with the commercial maxims of law encompassing those biblical precepts next to them. It's hook, line and sinker. So there is ways with covenants and treaties and international covenants and various treaties to use. There's Mosaic, Abrahamic scripture to use. So when you've got a merger of church and the state like this landmass has, fortunate for us, unlike America, we'll argue, which has got the president side of things and separation of church and state and a codified constitution and etc. It's a whole different ball game with regards to obtaining remedy and managing your estate. But here for us, you see there's ministers all around the continent, there's all around the realm. There is lots of use, the European ministers, the Prime Minister, the church ministers of it. So there is a lot of ecclesia, because ministers, let's face it, belong in the church. Officers belong on a ship. Agencies are agents of the sea. So again, the Maritime Admiralty, or as we say, law merchant, lex mercatoria, unidroit, are all prevalent and relevant. And when we've looked at all of this and we've assimilated it, and then we've gone back and looked at it again, and then just double checked everything and then done some work, we can see that there is a universal worldwide remedy for most continents, souls, land masses and creeds. That's what we're looking at. What's good for one is good for all. So regardless of where you physically reside right now, on what land mass and continent, state, territory, border, perimeters that you're in, we have found, I'll clear my throat on this one, remedy for most. I yield.
No.
We could be working for one another. We could be investing time for one another. We could be, if we had, I don't know, 500,000 souls on the landmass known as Angel Land, we could actually work for ourselves in this private, it's a bit like Jack Fresco, Venus Project. I know some people have got their opinions on that, but not exactly. But with regards to what we're saying and how it can be worked, nothing's exactly perfect, is it? But Engels of England, Anglo-normal, angeli, from the same Latin source, my English Engels, angels, messengers, seraphim, cherubim, scribes, initiates, I only use the word Anglo because of the commonality with the word angel, and angele, and angel, angel, and Engels, England. I recognise that it might not be true to some, but with the root origin of words, governance, jurisdiction, and how that jurisdiction you can sidestep. So we say ultra vires in Latin, when the officers are present. We haven't summoned any officers, but there's officers present. We're here to, when we've questioned them, to create or prevent a breach of the peace. Well, fine. Well, you seem to be for the company. You've arrived because the company agents have rang you for you to support fines, fees and levy collection to aid and abet a private corporation, when we're all equal at law. You must be impartial and show your impartiality. You are under the Chief Commissioner, Chief Constable, which is now Sir Mark Rowley, and as such, you shall be held accountable. If you're going to try to enforce execution of a warrant here today, we require you to show us your warrant cards. Who are you? They might ask us. Will you please? I'm not. Am I obliged? Am I obliged to? So again, jurisdiction. All right, this is the crux of our successes. The crux. We learned this from Chrissy Morris. We've learned this from Beat the Bailiffs. We've learned this from many. We've looked and we've seen where others have failed and why they've failed, where others have won and why they've won. We've been influenced heavily. John Harris, British Constitution, getoutofdebtfree.org. We'll go back to John Witterick and Mark Ceylon for those that are there. Speaking of blast from the past, that domain has since been sold, and it's now not getoutofdebtfree.org, but it is the domain name was sold, and it's a consolidation company. But back to track, beat the feet on the street. The jurisdictions and the duties and obligations is where we have moved forward with. And if you're showing notice of removal of implied rights of access and all visitors are seen strictly by appointment, you're adhering to the doctrine of notices, which lies at the heart of equity. You're slowing things down, you're filming everything, you're being calm and controlled, and you are asserting your rights, because he who doesn't assert his rights is deemed as having none. You're not being silent, because silence in their realm is deemed as consent. You're requiring of due process of law, rights, retainments, we're all equal, warrants. Let's see the warrant. Let me make a call to the court. Let me see, as Albert has done great work in his field with regards to officer agent debt collection, third party interaction, representing his data controller as an executor in office, not being the person. So then moving the jurisdiction, moving the implied trust positions, correcting the misconstrued relationships. It's an amazing thing, because then what you've done by asserting and not acknowledging verbally, and also within your paperwork, keeping clean hands, being in honour, putting things in place where you've got equitable estoppel, which is again coming down to jurisdiction, moving from UK rules and policy into the laws of England. You're stopping legal operators of the United Kingdom and their rules and their policy, enforcing that and breaking by doing so, by your lack of education, your lack of knowledge, your lack of retainment, breaking the laws of England and Wales. We've learned to put our feet firmly on the ground and slow it down, and you will see that people don't have the jurisdiction of which they claim to have, or if they did, they wouldn't be asking you to open the door so they can come in and seize goods for taking control orders off. Because if they did have the law and the warrants and the authority and the jurisdiction, they wouldn't be asking you to open the door, and when we question and film and end up going outside for interactions in a safe and controlled manner, and we don't create a breach of the peace, we've got witnesses, we've got videos, and we've got recordings of calls for you, then the situation rapidly works in your favour. So if you are going to comment and say, you're talking rubbish, you sovereigns think you don't have to follow the law, well, I ask you to define the law of which you speak of, and I ask you, we present to you Exhibit A, case in point. I yield. What? Albert has done some fantastic work with officers and agents, and he knows all about that, and he's taught me a thing or two as well with regards to the requirement of said authority, agents, debt collectors, pretending to be bailiffs, and the commonalities that we can use to keep these bottom feeders at bay. So kudos to you as well, Bert, for that work, that sterling work that you've done.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Been doing it a while as well, people. He knows his stuff, let me tell you.
Yeah, but it's only you're put in these corners and then you have to come out fighting or give in. And I'm not one for giving in, so.
Good man. I've taught a few people that this year, and they've, you know, I've been there if they needed me, but they've dealt with everything. They've stood their ground, and it's so empowering, especially to these younger people, you know, with mental health problems as it is. So empowering that they've basically they have put themselves through it. I can't deal with it for them on a phone or whatever. And it's so empowering when you get results like that. And it's, yeah, all right, somebody's give you some direction, maybe some information, but to stick by it. See, that's the problem. There's not an awful lot of people stick by it. They'll start off with good intent, but a lot of them can't hack it. They're too scared sometimes even to send the mandatory recon and stuff like that. It's funny. But no, Albert's an absolute star with the way he deals with it and handles it all, and when he's in office or not.
Yeah,
Fair
exactly.
play to him. Yeah, much
in office or not. Yeah.
Yeah, much respect to you, mate. I mean that from the heart. You've done, you know, beyond the say. It's not.
Yeah, but it's only going back to basics, though, Kev.
Yeah,
So looking at, like, if you look at legislation and all that kind of, yeah, you can get into that and get lost. But if I as well know they're all following practice directions, and if they don't practice what they're, then you've got them. So, and it's the best place to get them, because when you try and pull them up on a lot of things, you're just held, you're guilty. Do you know what I mean? You're guilty. Doesn't matter whether you've been heard or not. So it's just ludicrous. Like, we got terrorists at the top, allowing things to kick off and all that. Yeah. So especially you, Les, it goes against fundamental principles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, travel unhindered, unharmed on the roads and whatever. So hold on a minute. There's charges now, so I can't freely roam. I can't freely travel. That's one of the Queen's things, and it should have. The child should have thingy. So you know what I mean. Inherently, it should ride along still. That's even in the Houseberries. So yeah, not administrative. So yeah, it's all about pulling them up and asserting. Yeah. So I've just learned to do it now.
That's outrageous.
I'm fully protected, so I don't mind going at them, because, you know, like I know Ledge, and I know basically what they can and can't do. So that's, once you know what they can and can't do, then you're halfway there, aren't you?
Yeah. You got some armour on then, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and they will use wizardry, as you say, you know, spells and illusions.
Yeah.
And try and get you under their spell. Then, that's when it all just starts falling down, you know, when you see through the spells, see through the illusions. Yeah. And then even to who they speaking to. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Fair play, mate. Say you've got a tried and tested road that you stick to, and fair play to you. I say I don't have a lot of interaction with all that, because I don't, you know, the council tax, it's nothing to do with me. Utilities are nothing to do with me. Otherwise, I'd be messing with everyone, believe me. But I'm in a slightly different situation to most. So, there's things I'd love to do, but ultimately can't. Maybe one day get it all moved into my name, and then I'll start.
I think a lot of it is holding us surety for the debts that this country governments have racked up and can't even service the debts. So, and everything, it's just, diminishing. There's too much in circulation and stuff like that. So, I don't think they'll get a hold on it. And then ULEZ, so they say it's just the start of everything. So eventually it will be pay per mile. So not only are you going to get taxed on the fuel and all that, you're going to have to start coughing up when you want to go 3-4 miles down the road. But I don't know how they're going to calculate that, because where you started your journey to where you finished your journey seems a bit pompous, like, unless them 15-minute cities that I don't even get them, like, you know. But they're all going to create attachments, and then all going to create their own penalties. And then from them penalties, they'll be processing everyone via their computer system and saying, oh, you owe us this, you owe us that. So, and it will just get more rife. Yeah. So,
I'll tell you the other thing about that, Les. I mean, it doesn't, I am in the zone, if you like, but it doesn't affect us because she's got an up-to-date car. But how is that little cunt been able to basically go, well, fuck the emissions test on the MOTs, I'm changing them. That's what they've got to meet to come in here. I mean, what's that all about? Where did you get that authority? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like what's diplomatic and stuff, like when we're supposed to have a kind of consensus vote or have a voice, because when they even done a thing looking into it, I forget the name they called it, but like they didn't even listen to that. They just went about their own little devices and already started putting up cameras. Now, how disrespectful is that if you're going to have a consultation? That's what they called it, consultation.
But they didn't. He bypassed all that, and what they did submit was all doctored paperwork.
Yeah, well, consultation is to consult, and if you're not, everyone put their against or fors and all that, but was it really a consult? No. Yeah, you're allowed to speak, but not really consultated, because your opinion didn't count on none of it.
That's right. That's absolutely right. It's like voting, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've never done that in my life, to be honest.
Nor have I. I've got a very proud record of not once ever having voted, apart from the referendum.
But even now, in theory, like they're moving everything digital. Yeah, so even the electoral now is going digital, or has gone digital, because now you need IDs and all that. So are they processing and connecting the name with the IDs, or getting more further data around all that in that certain agency? Do you know what I mean? So they're not sharing certain things, so they won't get done for that. But if you're freely consenting to gain and connect data and all that and provide it to them, then you're consenting really for having digital ID to go down and vote. Like, it's just, I get it if there's fraud and whatever, but none of them are worth even voting for nowadays. They've all got their own.
There's nothing to vote for. None of them represent us. And as we all know, they all make promises. None of them are ever kept. Nothing ever changes that affects anybody in a positive, long-term way. It's just bullshit. All of it.
Yeah. But then how would they go? Yeah. Because obviously they've changed policy. They've changed practice. So if you now have to file further data or something like that, when suppose you refuse or you ask them, because once it fully goes digital, if you haven't provided digital ID or whatever to connect the accounts, then surely they must have a right or thing for erasure if you're not willing to participate in a digital kind of service. Because that's what I've been thinking lately.
Very likely.
Yeah, but would they allow it?
They'll have a process whereby basically fight all you like, but you're going to get fucked hard if you don't. That's what it just be. It just make it so difficult. But then in comes the dream of being totally self-sufficient out somewhere and bollocks to them. But that's easy said.
Well, unless they've changed the legislation, like recent or whatever that I've missed, but on the electoral roll, if you're on there, then you're actually classed as a constituent, and then a constituent is a taxpayer. So, you know, like constituents pay tax. So when you're on that electoral roll, unwittingly, because you think like you're, for whatever reason, you want to vote and you want to good credit, whatever, because it's a extra few marks on your credit file. But then it's converting you in the background to a constituent who is a willing taxpayer, you know, and consent to be governed, I suppose, if you look at it like that, because you're...
basically, you're agreeing.
Yeah. So with a digital switch, then maybe it's something you need to look into and revert back, because they do say, like with the electoral as a point, once you sign up to it, the only way to get off it is to actually move. They won't remove your data until that occurrence happens.
Yeah. You should, I mean, lost my train of thought. I was just thinking about something you said.
Yeah, the digital wise, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm
using that as a point of reference to say, like, well, I'm not giving you further data. I wish to be removed. Such like, and the conditions of, obviously, if you were still residing at the same place, to convert yourself from a not constituent but a non-constituent, where basically, you're not consenting to their kind of sidestep.
Yeah, because there's got to be the other thing, obviously, the full, right, we need full terms and conditions, even if it's digital, right? When you register and all this stuff, you should go, right, by doing this, you're agreeing to this, just like on the back of a lot of loan paperwork or insurance, all the rest of it. We should be able to go to it and take out the bits we don't like. We agree to that, but not none of that. You can't have that, because you see, GDPR stuff like that. It's already there that says basically, if you say don't process, that should be the end of it. That really should be the end of it, because you don't have to submit to all that. But of course, just like the COVID jab, will start making it difficult.
Lawful right to process.
Lawful right to?
Lawful right to process. Because that's what you'll get given back,
That's what I mean. We can't be, not even compelled. If you don't want to be part of it, you can't be part of it. But they can't just say, right, well, fuck you then. You don't exist. They might do, scaremonger that way, but who knows, mate? Who knows where it's going? It's with all this shit going on. I really don't give it a lot of time, because it's not worth the energy. What's going to happen is going to happen. We hope it turns out good, but it's a time, especially in these days, with all the men and women with beards and cocks and all that nonsense going on. I think I'm glad I'm sort of on the I'm moving towards exit stage left from the realm, because fuck knows what it's going to be like in 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
Especially I worry for my grandchildren, but unfortunately, as much as I talk to them and I don't overload them with stuff, my daughter and that just don't get it. They'll be too late by the time they go, fucking hell, wish I'd listened to Dad. I'm just so worried. Well, not worried. It's just like, well, what am I going to do about it? I could be in the ground or shot in the head in a firework by then. It's out of my hands. I'm doing what I can, but we're all trying to do what we can, but there's just not enough of it. This is the problem, that spirit from England when you all come together when it was getting shitty, it seems to have, fucking hell, it's flown the coop. Sad days. And I'm not at an age to get out there swinging fists and, you know what I mean, anymore. I need somebody to push me along in a wheelchair so I can throw bricks through windows.
Well, I think nowadays, this system that was set up and what we was led to believe 100% is a fucking fraud, really, innit? And then at the end of the day, you be a good boy, pay your taxes, get married, get a license to say you love someone. And, you know, like even taxes now is what you're going to get, like with the currency losing value, like you're going to have to be chipping in for a long old time to even get what kind of life, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because on average, what an individual would need to live and survive is not, you know. So the whole system, like for someone paying in, and then at the moment you're getting back because many are on universal credit, which is subsidizing your income because your income doesn't meet the whole scenario of what it costs to actually live. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a failing society. Yeah. So what's the point of being in it anyway? Yeah.
Well, that's right, really. Could step out of it completely, it'd be great. And we'll get on with it. Yeah, look, there's plenty of morons for you to have. Just leave us alone.
Yeah, they're all very hard of hearing, though. I will say that.
Oh, yeah. Deaf as post, yeah. Most of them.
Yeah. But so, especially with the old chestnut, you got that off the internet. Or
yeah.
You're sending me a template. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's Freeman on the land. Nonsense. Oh, dear.
But they do the same. They send us template letters, don't they? They've got everything template.
Yeah.
They've got their foundations, dark and negative. The due process of law, which is legal procedure, is a metaphysical cover phrase for legal concepts, legal entities such as corpses, dead corpses, body corporations, corporations incorporated, which are property rights. These corpses are then, they're not natural, so they are supernatural entities which do not have a verifiable existence except on paper and to the eyes of a particular faith, which would be the law society, their society. The rules of law which reference these legal concepts are in fact theorems, man-made, secular, and jurisprudence, as I've put into the chat room here, I'm just rereading, is a special branch of the science of transcendental nonsense. Transaction, so you have a transaction, a transcendental nonsense, entrance, you're entrancing to the department store, you enter, entrance, the placenta, the placenta, the placenta, the place that you enter is full of transcendental nonsense, so it puts you in a trance. We talked about spellings and hypnotizing and trances, transcendental transgressions from the Bible. You know, this is a cult reference from the Cabal courts, them courts when we talk about business venues and officers, agents, the interfacing that we're doing there, then they are religious temples, but not in the true form as in like Angkor Wat or any other temple which is wholesome and natural and spiritual. These Saturnalia type cults referenced Cabal, religious temples, business venues. Legal is the undoing of God's law, from one of the what was it now, encyclopedias. I've yet to find that source, but it does sound good nevertheless. Foundations of law, the Judeo-Christian Bible, especially the KJV, when we say that, does tell a wonderful story. So it's referenced as the greatest story ever told, and so it is. And you all found out why. In the New Testament of Christian Bible, KJV, a provocative and most serious challenge is laid on the whole of Christianity, since it bears directly on the subject. We quote that, if Christ not be risen, then our preaching is in vain, and your faith is in vain, and we are found false witness of God. Witnesses are in courts. Witness, the word witness, in itself, if Christ not be raised, your faith is in vain, yet ye are in your sins and condemned. So in the Testament there's a warning given to all that would build a house. Before you lay the foundation, find out what the foundation itself will rest on, solid rock or sand. He's leaning a little bit into Maxwell kind of methodology, or Mark Pazio, what on earth. But you do need to stand under the foundation to get a true understanding before you can get the inner standing, to then eventually obtain the overstanding, which is where we're all at today. So the legal, the original redemption manual for the Law Society, the New World Order, the legal system is where we're at there. And we've also found strength within the civil procedure rules, the civil court practices, due process, acts, statutes, law, maxims. And so that's where we're at today. We have the minds to question authority, to treat the legal system and those that say that they're purporting law and promulgating law. We actually stop it, slow it down, and hold them to account. You can do this with your boss in your place of work, in facing a disciplinary, facing a sanction from the entitlement of which your person is receiving, that you're benefiting from. You can get this, you question and hold to account. And you don't always need to use the vernacular of which we speak now here today, but there are ways and means of which we can communicate and rebut assumptions and presumptions, which is quite often what everybody is operating on, aren't they? So we then learn to provide facts of the matter, first-hand knowledge, testamentary evidence. We have got witnesses in the form of notaries with regards to notarization. Matthew, wherever two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of you. That's why at law witnesses win the day. When you claim something and you don't have any backing, no substance, no reference, no video, no witnesses, you're on your own, your talk is cheap. Your claims are not backed up with the burden of proof or any kind of proof. So it's hearsay, conjecture, and it will fall down. Slander, defamation, libel gets you in hot water. So we've learned to play the game. We've learned to keep clean hands. We've learned to remain in honour all the time, not consenting and conforming to the legislatory arm, the code, the law of Mammon. We reference the God's law, which is the authority of the legal New World Order. Law Society gets its authority from, which is why we will quote that to you. You don't have to be of a Christian or Catholic faith. We're in fact what would be known as Protestants in the old days then, because we don't agree with what is being preached and taught and said to us. We found holes in the Holy Bible, and pardon the pun, and we hold them to account and feed their own words, statutes, acts, legislation, processes, pre-action protocols, words, vernacular, vocabulary, implied meanings and definitions. It takes autistic people that are not on the normal wave, that are on a spectrum outside of that normal blinkered narrative, that just obey blindlessly as subjects and operate in fear and anger only, where we've learned to take ourselves, to extrapolate from that, to remove ourselves, and we keep going back to the truth, and every time all of us go back to that same truth, it has a different appearance to it, but it's the same truth. It's just that it's subjective to the size of our consciousness. So the Sovereign Justice League roundtable, entering into the golden age of heroes, is something of which none of us can ever fully accomplish until we all get our arses together in solidarity, share that information. Once we've done that, we shall go once again, probably for the 100th time, back to the fountain of truth, the object of truth, the whole thing, and nothing but the truth. And when we look at it again, we will change again, but it won't change, it stays the same. Our perception, it's subjective to our intellect, our intelligence, and our combined efforts. And when we learn to work together and to share this knowledge and resources, stop being greedy, remove the ego, remove the anger, remove the fear, remove the embarrassment. And I'm the king of embarrassment, to be fair. I've made many a blunder, and I've learned, though, the point is we learn from the mistakes. If you don't blunder and you don't learn and you don't embarrass yourself and you don't humble yourself, you will be the arrogant twat that thinks he knows everything, and you will have a great fall just because of the amount of pride that you possess. Because before a great fall comes what? Pride. So again, the truth itself is always the same. It's just that we can't ever get a full picture of truth, because none of us know the whole truth and nothing but the truth, as is so famously said in a court, a high court, a court of equity, a court of English and Wales common law, So again, we will not win the game until we know all the rules, and we need to learn those rules. We need to come together, so then when we go and look at truth, all of us, what do you see, Bert, when you look at truth? Anders, what do you see when you look at that truth? Kevin, what do you see when you look at that truth? Lisa, what do you see when you look at that truth? And then we all get those interpretations, and then we see why they differ. Well, it's the same thing. We're all looking at the same truth, but we've all got different descriptions of it. Why? Because of the way that we have, educated ourselves, our consciousness, our ability. So it starts off as a golf ball, but by the time we've finished, it ends up the size of planet Earth, physically, but metaphysically. Obviously, you couldn't fit planet Earth in your cranium under the dome, but you get where I'm coming from. This is the object, and I'm looking to close down in about 15-20 minutes, so let's keep the thread, keep it going, but I just wanted to interject with that. I yield. Thank you.
No, I agree there. It's about, everything is about networking. Networking within the legal system, networking within the social life, networking with food, everything, transport. It's about networking, agreeing, coming together, trust each other. That's what we have to come back to.
Agreed, yeah, this is it. And for some reason, man, souls, humans, entities, human beings are simply human beings, and we're not doing as much as we should be doing as humans, as authentic living souls, beings. So we are making headway, because that's the strength of our successes, and we recognise where the strengths of our successes lie. So we are having to, on some fronts and some accounts, we're having to actually demonstrate that. People say, how do you know so much? How can you guys do what you do? How have you learned what you've learned? Well, by working with others, by sharing, by reading, by practicing. When you practice it, use it or lose it. So you actually have to help others to retain that information. You have to write articles, you have to do posts. You don't just copy and paste. Initially you might do, to save it and make your own notes, but then you work from that script as a scribe, and you prescribe, and inscribe. There's lots of words I could put in there with scribes, but you get where I'm coming from. And you perspire quite a lot. You get skin in the game. You by doing what you do for others, you do for yourself. And that's not because we're in each other's image. That's because by doing the work, by learning the crafts and the techniques, you then become master of it. It's like anything what you learn. You can't become a master of trigonometry until you're schooled and educated in it. Educated, not schooled, because schooled is fooled, but that's and working together. And when you hear somebody make a mistake, you go, are you sure you meant that? Didn't you mean this? Or is it really the 2015 Equality Act? Is it not the 2010 Equality? We polish off those skills. We don't always agree, and we do. It's good to argue, but or to disagree, to have that difference of opinion, because then when each has put their point across and their objective, their thoughts, their feelings, their experience, their knowledge, the sources of reference of which they speak from, and the basis of the foundation of their knowledge, then you can actually compare and contrast that to your own and see if yours holds water, if it holds weight. So again, we all piss in the same pot. Yes, Tracy, dewdrop or snow. The room's actually very active and very much a lot of interesting things. But Stephen, yeah, thank you for your time and what you're doing and how you're doing that, and for all the chat, the interaction. Came on, yeah, it was 8:30, long time no see. Thank you for your input and for your comments there. Thank you for your all. We're not going yet, but Amon David, Amon from Camon, amen. Yes, so we know where we're at, and I just wanted to interject that, and we're working towards it, but we are getting older, we are getting tired, time is getting short. This is as real as it is. It's like Springer's final thought of the day. You know, we're not going to keep coming on tube doing live shows and preaching the same old rhetoric and narrative. Eventually we will sort our own houses out, and we will be in the private, and we won't have the time, the inclination and the will, and we may have the resources to keep doing this. So we're not saying the time is ticking, make use of it before we actually F off, but you know, we have discussed this, you know, direction. We need support, we need resources, we need to give you options, and you need to decide. You need to help us to help you. Those of you that have watched Scrubs and Dr. Cox and so forth, you know, we need to invest, we need to teach, and we need to balance. We need to recognise the timing, we need to recognise we need to help one another. The protection of the private remedy, operating privately, private property, assets, etc., language, terminology, processes, and we need to establish ourselves. We need to assert for ourselves right now. But in the trust title, name, description, sovereign paralawfuls est nunc pro tunc. Established nunc pro tunc is now for then in Latin. What we do now, we do for then. And we've started out, you know, many years ago, 2015, nearly 10 years ago. So, you know, initially on the trust and equity triangle window with the equity and trust law. And now we are getting to the point where after 10 years, if we haven't made a sizable dent and a noticeable difference to society by restoring society's soul, moving you, showing you the continuing mission of ours to move you for you to be able to move yourself and save your own soul, return your own soul, and go from public to private, from public legal possessory title to private lawful equitable title, and how you can manage those titles as settlor with trustee and beneficiaries quite simply, honourably, with case in point references at law, Knight versus Knight, the three certainties. Yeah, if you're in doubt, just look at Knight versus Knight. If ever you want to express a trust, you don't need to buy one, you just need to know how to enforce one. That's the key to what we're saying. Again, honourability, clean. Oh, David, you're just trying to sell things that you've scraped off the internet and this, that, the other. Wrong. We're not running a business. I'm not running a business. The website's not running a business. We're not commercially active. We have done a lot of work over 10 to 15 years, and we're due recompense, we're due remuneration for our efforts. Yes, our time is worth, that's all it is. If you're trying to buy a trust, as you know, they're £2,000 to £5,000, and they're not always valid, and they're not always going to stand up. And if you don't know how to enforce a trust, and anybody sells you a valid trust, you will fall down on it because you haven't been educated in a way in which to recognise, overstand equity and trust law and enforce it. So even if you've got a valid bona fide technology, instrument, deed, trust, and you don't know anything about it, it will not probably work when come to be forced to stand upon it. So this is where we learn very quickly in the game. This is a lot of work. Not everybody can keep up. Not everybody, mentally, physically less able, the aka disabled, are not going to be able to. So they're left behind. That's not fair. What's good for one is good for all. If it's not good for one, it's not good for all. You need to have the access to the technology, to the parameters, to the universal non-sectarian remedies, of which is various and many, but we'll say equity, trust law and biblical references is the nutshell, yes, and then being able to prove and being able to exercise, being able to limit discretions, to talk the talk, to implement the instrumentation, to disenfranchise yourself from the person, to recite this from here and here, whereas the rest need a cove like this, scriptures, verses, books, volumes of law, trust, equity, jurist, Blackstones, Bouviers, etc. Whereas we've got it, Albert, Kevin, Gansders, between us all, we've got it in the temples under the dome, and we've got it in the heart. We want to help you on your way, but there comes a point, boys and girls, men and women, souls and beings, initiates, sovereigns, Romans, friends, emperors and narcissists, where we're going to say, I'm going for a big smoke and I'm not coming back. We've had a go. Our hands are clean. Later. You know what I mean? So this is where the last bit of this title, it comes in, where we need to try to sort out a round table. We need to get together. We need to move. It's as real as it is. You see how the narrative, the estate, the movement is working. We have a lot. We have 80% of what we need right here between us, in the trust, in our heads, in our hearts, in our souls. Yes, but we want to work with you. We want to protect you. We want you with us. We can obtain and achieve great feats of which you would not even think possible. But we will help you and we will show you, and we will need to move fast, and we will need to move before we're all with walking sticks, beards and smoking jackets. I yield.
There is something that we maybe should start to have a look at seriously, and that is the smart meters.
Go on, Anders. I did do a post in the News and Update channel about these and the recent act that was passed in England, but from Sweden and your point, I'd be interested to know what your angle is.
Yeah, my angle is that it is the surveillance of it, because it is able to connect to IoT, Internet of Things, and I'm not interested of that at all. And then they can actually turn off your electricity whenever they want. That's the function in it also. And how we are looking at it, it is because here in Sweden it is category 1 and category 2 meters. They have this, what are they saying, that they should fulfill certain measurements, yes, so they can control all these things. But this is only applying for the population, for the people, for the household. It is not for the big companies. And they say that, no, they don't have to do it because they are using enormous amounts of energy. So it is not any meaning to meet them. So it's like ridiculous, you know. So we are looking at it from that angle, that actually we should build groups, because if you come over 63 amperes, then you don't need these smart meters. So then you can start groups. If you have a village, you can start a group that is buying in. And then everybody say, yeah, but then it's going to be more expensive because it's over 63 amperes, you know. Yeah, so what? You also more people sharing on one bill. Yeah, so it's going to be much more cheaper. Then you buy in that power yourself as a group. So then you don't need this meter. And that's a way to tackle it if you are a bunch of neighbors that really don't want to have it. But that's actually, then we have to come together about it. That's the most important things. And the smart meters also, they say it's the radiation. Yeah, sure, it's the radiation too. But as a friend of ours, what's his name? Babak, the scientist. We was calling him that. What was the name? It is the Iranian guy, David. The scientist we had on 3 years ago or something, 4 years ago on the channel. Babak. Anyway, he been installing the whole 4G system in Moscow for Ericsson. He was the manager for that whole project. So he got experience. He was telling me that you don't have to be scared about the radiation. The surveillance is the worst. That's what he told me. So that's why I don't want to have it, because of the surveillance. And then it is the radiation, sure, but also that they have the control over when I have power or not. So maybe if I write something on Twitter or something, I don't have Twitter, but if I do that, then they turn off the power. So yeah, I think that is something important that we have to have a look at, to fight it from all kinds of angles.
I love it when you come out with a tangent. That was very passionate and powerful, and I can't argue with any of that. What I will point out is I've put some comments broken up into the chat, so have a look and follow that link to see what we're talking about this end. I would uphold everything that Gansders has just said. And the funny thing is that if you want to generate your own energy and sell it back to the grid, unfortunately, they do need a smart meter to regulate how much you're feeding in to the grid to manage it and buy it off you and stuff. So there are certain times where I speak from personal experience that from first-hand knowledge. I'm not a person. I don't have experience. It's knowledge and it's first-hand. Slap myself for that. But yeah, they've got your hand over fist. You could argue you could go off the grid and only use it yourself and not feed it in and not have any meters. But yeah, I suppose. But that was brilliant, Anders, and I thank you for that. And I'll let Kevin and Bert comment on their thoughts on the man and monitoring Orwell and Clark style society.
Yes. I'm not having any of it. Nobody telling me what I've got to have on my property. I was watching something or reading something the other day, some sort of feed, and somebody been contacted, by, I think it might have been British Gas, whatever, saying, "Oh, we've got to put a smart meter in." And they said, "Well, I don't want one." And they were responding, "Well, we're the government. We've signed a thing with the government. We're obligated." It doesn't give me the obligation, does it? You know what I mean? It's crazy. But the shit they're trying, ages ago, they tried it here. We got a phone call one night, said, "You're having a laugh." Said, "Not having one of them." This woman, she got so upset. She ended up putting the phone down on me, so I complained to customer services about her. But Yeah, I said, don't tell me what I've got to have on my property. And you'll have to have one. I said, no, I won't. It's absolutely incensed, she was. That was probably 5 or 6 years ago. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I won't have one fitted, but if that energy bill bullshit, does it apply? Only applies if you're an idiot, doesn't it? Forcing stuff on your property. Fuck off. I'll just rip it out as soon as they're gone and just hot wire straight through the fuse board. I would. Fuck them. More than happy to pay, but not through that meter. That type of meter.
I don't think the technology with these smart meters is good, really. So
No.
there's a long way to go before it ever happens to that, I think. I'm not sure what it's like in Sweden, but I know here the technology, it just can't communicate properly and all that shit. They're a waste of time and they actually cost more to run. Yeah.
People are saying, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've seen lots of complaints about, electronic top ups you do via your phone and all the rest of it. Don't go down the shop or anything anymore. And it's a nightmare. People being left with babies and stuff with no electric and all sorts. When they're trying to use this app, I'll put 30 quid on the bit, I'll now transfer it to the meter, and no. It takes them days to get it sorted, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if you think about it, it was a fashion, wasn't it, back in I don't know, the 50s, 60s, making a community style place. You got like the estates and stuff like that. And some of them, like, they're not designed for smart meters. So they ain't never going to, well, I say never. You can't say never because they will craft their thing and make the internet and all that more bigger, like the 5 gigahertz and all that kind of stuff. So, but at the minute, with the estates and the setup up and down the country, some of the blocks that are on council estates are not suitable for all that. So it's, you know what I mean? It's something that is not going to come to fruition as much as they really think anyway, really. Because if you're in the wrong setup of a building, they ain't going to work, no matter how much.
No.
Because you've got concrete, other such things in the building fabrics that prevent that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like the stairwells and stuff. The grids,
Metal,
steel and all that interference, you know what I mean?
Could you imagine a complete rewiring of the electric infrastructure? What that would involve?
Yeah. Up and down the country with their programs. Yeah.
And then the EMF, the field, the health factor of it. I'm not saying there is one, but we are on a subatomic level.
There is. These guys, David, I've pulled up intentionally and had conversations with these guys that work on the masks because I've gone down the route of basically saying to them, like, are you aware of like the rays and stuff like that, the radiation that actually
electromagnetic?
Yeah, all of that. And they're very well versed in it because they sign a waiver and they get all medical privileges and all that kind of thing, and insurances, indemnities. If any of them had tumours and all that kind of thing develop, they can put it down to the work, and then they're insured to the hilt to do that. But in that environment, they say it's very minute, it doesn't happen much, all that kind of thing. But it can. Do you know what I mean? So they're insured to the hilt, like, do you know what I mean? They've got the life insurances in place for these guys working on that stuff. And obviously some of them are happy to work on that because they're probably being paid at a good remuneration rate. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But it's like
wages of death.
And like the government infrastructure and the fraternities that do it all with the smart meters, the technology ain't there as much as we think still. No,
I think militarily it is. I think they're years ahead, but the civilian infrastructure of things is terrible. They'll struggle. It's like electric car shit. We just haven't got, nor has the states or any of you got the infrastructure to support it. All these charges and shit, you know, it's crazy.
Well,
Such a
what,
pie in the sky load of bollocks.
you know what I heard, and I haven't looked into it, but if you think like the average weight of a Tesla to the average weight of a normal car, now that weight load on our roads, if they was to change at mass, probably the roads ain't, do you know what I mean? They're not going to sustain.
Yeah.
That's probably why a lot of the roads are getting beaten up more by the tarmac they lay. Because
The RAC
everything's
have just
heavier.
done the RAC have just put out an all drivers bulletin, all travellers bulletin, saying that potholes and the state of the highways is all time worst, and there's lots of damage and things being incurred already with the traffic, public, commercial, and private traffic, commuting, travelling going off at the minute. So again, yeah, when it comes to military industrial complex and commerce, they get the very best and the modern technologies, and when it comes to civilian, domestic, private aspects and attributes of society, we get that last. It's very sad. Again, with this private roundtable decentralized network, we would invest and we would find out, we would do freedom of information, we would get the case in point, we would get the scientific peer reviewed, we would be able to provide, like when we analysed cancer, the Cancer Act and remedies. When we talk of remedies and cure, we talk of medical remedies and cure. Going back to the man from Greece that said what? He said, let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. If anybody can name that man, then 10 sovereign points to you. Yeah, so again, electricity, going back to what we started from there, how many lightning storms are there around the world? How much voltage and ampage and power does a lightning bolt have? Could we not harness this? This is what Tesla and the great independent scientists and entrepreneurs were on with the late 17th, say 16th, 17th, 18th century Tartarians, pre-ancient, prehistory civilizations, Egyptian technologies, Baghdad batteries, etc. They were all on the atomic level, the teachings of Thoth, Hermes, etc. Everything vibrates, vibration, frequency, resonance. So again, harmony, the human resonance of the earth. So there's a lot that we have been kept in the dark with, because it isn't beneficial for the common. It can't be metered. If it can't be metered and sold, Westinghouse, Faraday, such names as in the day, in history, it's all there to be seen, and why we have gone down the petrodollar, fossil fuel and metered technology routes, as opposed to not 0 point, but free energy. There's energy in the atmosphere in the world that could be harnessed and used, which would counteract this alleged climate control issue that we seem to have pressing on us, which is driving the revolution for propulsion and energy demand. So again, why are some without and some with? It shouldn't come down to monetary aspects and whether or not you've got access through credits, the credit system, society. We should all have equal access to food, shelter, energy, and nobody should be without. The companies that are managing fuel and energy are making record profits, where some in private domestic dwellings can't afford energy. So why have we got an energy scarcity amongst ourselves? It's not scarce, it's abundant, and it can be free. There's peer-reviewed scientific studies to show the fact, but they've been bought, patented by other companies, hidden, taken away out of the public domain. People on YouTube and other private, public, areas have been silenced and gone against guidelines, and it goes against the rhetoric and the narrative of commerce, doesn't it? So, evil people, souls that have directed this direction of metered energy. So again, there's a lot to be said: health, wealth, energy, EMF. Pollution, radio, how much there is out there, how it affects us, our mind, our health, our wealth, our pockets.
1984, it's here, knocking on the door.
Well, when you talk about meters, yeah, I think national grid. And then when you think national grid, what is national grid up to nowadays like? Because not being funny, it's moved on over the years, yeah, where people are entitled to stick these solar panels on their roof, sell back electric, all that kind of thing. We've got wind turbines on the shores, yeah. Where is all this electric going? Yeah. And I've thought about it more since the opening of Parliament again, because there was one soul who stood up in a grey suit with a big flower, yeah. Some of it he spoke about was nonsense because he spoke about Brexit and stuff like that. But he was saying about Scotland generating 5 times in an annual usage, they generate 5 times more than they need. And they can't actually sell it. And I swear those were the words I heard. But because it was live and then trying to look back over it, yeah, it's something I'm going to watch again. But I couldn't believe the thing. So all of those in Scotland and probably up and down the country, the government have got a lot of surplus to requirements, but yet they're still billing everyone for the service. You know what I mean? When in theory, it's probably the taxpayers' public purse that's gone into these wind turbines, put them on the shores for them to generate that. And yet the government just seem to be greedy and want to line their pockets and sell it off and cream off the profits and service the debts. Yeah.
Could give everybody, civilian wise anyway, free electric.
Yeah.
And still have all that surplus.
Simple solution.
No wonder free electric, we're all sorted. We got loads of it. But
yeah. And you think really they're basically, they were subsidising a lot, weren't they?
Yeah.
They subsidise because they know they've got it already. So they're giving us the illusion like they're subsidising us.
Yeah, nothing comes back though. That's the reality.
Yeah.
People think, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. No, you're just robbing it all and you're making people pay for it. You've produced enough. You've got the infrastructure now to basically give Scotland free electric domestically anyway.
Yeah. But they won't.
And then you'd still be 5 times. Yeah. That's how disgusting these fucking demons are, and they really are. There's some sick people out in the world, and it's a majority.
I wonder though whether that's the same for England, and we just don't know it yet.
Well, it's something.
If anyone's got any info on that, then please post it in the groups. So, because that is a golden chestnut to challenge lawful reason why, to stop paying and other such things. You know what I mean? It's the escalation and proof of the facts of the matter. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, if what's being bandied about is right, the next crisis, and it's already been mentioned, is going to be the water. Oh no, shortage of water. Well, so let's put all this bullshit together. We've got all the ice caps going to melt, everybody's going to drown, but the water's going to run out. So isn't it just, couldn't we counteract that just by building shitloads of desalination plants and using the water? Everything's such bollocks, isn't it? Do you know? That's what I'm saying. If you think about it,
but it's all repurposed anyway because it all leads back to them. Yeah. So they're with their plants and whatever filtration and But the next thing will be the outset of water meters. That we want to install water meters up and down the country. I can guarantee you that.
Oh,
that'll be the next.
We've got one.
Oh right. When did that go?
We've got one. Oh, just over 2 years ago, but it only came online recently.
Right. Yeah. See, the first cardinal sin. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, I can't do a lot about that. It's not my place. You know what my missus does?
Yeah.
Right, as a job.
But it's good to relay.
It's very difficult for me to kick up too much of a fuss.
Yeah.
Because it causes strife in our relationship. Because
it's not worth
as much as we are really, really, really close, in certain ways we're lands apart in certain ways, and we try not to cross that. She's been brilliant. The stuff I've heard her get on the phone and repeat stuff to people that I've been saying, and it's just been, I have a little sort of punch of the air quietly behind the door saying, yeah, go on, girl. I mean, but there's certain things, even though I can explain it to her and show her proof of everything, she's just not game for that. And, you know, that's how she's built. And of course, because of the job, don't want to be fighting the system you work for, do you?
No.
We've
all got fights that we want to undertake, and there's always
but she's
in a cat.
I think, you know, she in bits of law and people making claims that she's really picked up a lot of that, and she's seen what we do and what me and Graham have done with the DWP and debts and things for people. So she knows it's not bollocks, it's just not for her, and I understand why. There's no
politics. Yeah,
reason for her to bring such bullshit to her own doorstep, quite frankly.
Family politics, yeah. We all can appreciate where you're coming from there, Kevin. We have to meet in the middle on some things to keep the peace. We often find we are worlds apart, but yeah, we can agree some common ground. And yeah, I'm reading the room here, and 1869 Bankruptcy Act. We own the utilities.
Yeah,
Tricky Bricky. I'll leave it there for your own interpretations on that.
Yeah, but when you say about that bankruptcy and we own it, but we've also allowed them to just carry on regardless and just be billing us and all that. Well, not us, but our artificial persons. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
providing documents. They're not bills, but they're documents. Yeah, and we're looking at that. There are groups looking at
that. Do they even provide bills nowadays? Because a lot
documents,
of digital.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They don't really conform.
It's a statement of charge.
And they just basically they make up the legislation to say that they're valid, don't they? Oh no, under this and that and the other, that's perfectly acceptable. No, it isn't.
Kamon says the heart is a vibrational generator. We need electric to live. It is in fact a human right. Boom, there we go. So on a fundamental basics of the laws of physics and the principles of energy, that's what we're looking at there. Yeah. We see the evolution of the privatisation and the commercialisation and the quasi-trusts and what happened in the 80s under Margaret Thatcher's government, and they subjugate. We are the surety for that, for the credits of, but we need to look at, we've got to reform it in such a way. It's a bit like the crypto story, isn't it, and how now that's become regulated from independent private fiscal financial credit control, profit and gain, losses as well, but still there is there's options for us to look at these utilities and the supplies and how we benefit from that, how we would claim. When we say claiming the world's resources are common heritage again, this is the topics: water, electricity, energy, gas, fuel. To go on a tangent, that's why they will not release straight away until they've got an alternative metered provision to provide us from the military industrial complex the truth about UAPs, UFOs and anti-grav technology. Because if they did, we would then, as a consciousness collection of souls and beings, we would demand that the world then be given the energy for free for how the technology has evolved to fall in line with such advanced technologies. We've had disclaimers and freedom of informations and Ministry of Defence coming forward with the tic-tac, and they are, it's no longer tinfoil hat area to speak of, but they're being very careful. NASA and the agencies and the defence ministries of what they will actually reveal. There is still a cover up, because when you do a freedom of information to get said information from this and truth, there's a lot of blanking out of the documents, which is where the word cover up comes from. Well, not the word, the phrase cover up that we speak of comes from. They cover up the key parts and give you little bits that they wish you to see. So again, we need to get off this basic living allowance and provide, as came on, as said, electric to everybody. Water, hydrogen, yes, the way that the fuel system is going. Section 13, Theft Act, abstraction of electricity. Stephen's on it in the chat room, keeping it going there. How much, I want to say I can't, because we're getting ready to close down, but it's good. It's good, the energy and the knowledge that we have between us. The options.
Yeah, nice. Been a good chat. Been away for a while. It's nice to be back.
Planet that's 80% water, we shouldn't charge. They say they charge for the distribution of it, but why can't we reform all these systems? Why can't we?
Well, that's paid for, surely. It's in. The infrastructure's there. Yes, it needs maintenance, which they don't bother doing, but they make vast profits. But, that's it. Nothing's being updated, is it? That's why all this electric cars and crap won't work. The infrastructure's already been done.
Some consumers will be getting some kind of a credit for your winter heating bills and utility bills from the government, which is adding to the national debt, which is borrowing from the Treasury, which is borrowing from the place that is called the Bank of England, which is neither a bank or anything to do with England, which then goes on to national debt. Why don't they take the winter warming heating credits direct from the source, the actual commerce that are making the profits, untold record-breaking profits in their millions, overall billions, and they should be the ones to pay it back. With regards to ULEV and charges and taxes for pollution, again, the commerce has made the money, the government, the institutions and have made the profits, so why aren't they all made to pay the charges regarding pollution and climate? Why is it the average man, the aka the consumer, the beneficiaries as such, are made to pay, when actually the trustees, to put it simply, that are made to pay? It's a bit like he who creates a problem is duly obligated to remedy it, so therefore we could go on that same narrative with regards to fixing the alleged problems that we have now. The world is hurt, the world is dying, and we need to recognise that, these alleged crop circles and things, messages that are coming from alternative fifth dimensional sources that are being proven to be more valid than conjecture and hearsay, are pointing that out to us as well, so we're waking up to this. It's becoming common knowledge.
Yes. I hope it gets more common than common sense is.
Lisa says on a related topic, I'm slowly winning with James. Got him off most of his big poison and have replaced most with my tinctures and concoctions, although he is suffering certain consequences from Agent Orange. What? Oh my days.
Yeah.
Stephen's put in some information. Section 22, Bills of Exchange Act, strawman to discharge all debts. So you've got a lot of different chirp going off with the topics we've covered today. If a town has an incinerator, then it's generating electricity off the rubbish that you pay and have to taken away. Again, we could look at that as a private resource, as moving forward to build up resources. No organic food waste should ever be going to a landfill, because that in itself can be used to generate, I know it's a tangent, but still, hydrogen, water, gases, fuels, cleaner, greener energy. energy that is abundant to us,
Yeah.
we're missing a trick because the corporations, lobbyists, you know, and how it works. It's we can see that it's the legal corporate public system is geared up to use and consume, and they don't want to give up their stronghold of which they've become accustomed to. They live a lifestyle, and most of them are unconscionable, soulless entities. They are authentic beings, living souls, but they've sold their soul to gain material profit. There's not very many that speak out and fight for, like what Albert was saying with the opening of Parliament and the chats going off with regards to Scottish power, Scottish energy in general, with wind turbine and stuff. You stand up against them, then you are besmirched, you are made a target, you are then thrown out of your institution, you're made a joke, you lose your livelihood. So there is repercussions for those that try to go against the narrative and the rhetoric, isn't there? So it's down to us to demand it. The power is with us becoming one, in voices, in our uniform, unilateral voice, even though unilateral is not the right word, but uni meaning one. And a bit of lateral thinking, and we would be able to come to an agreement which is good for all. But the environment, the kingdom of plants, the kingdom of animals, the kingdom of man, coming together to live harmoniously, which again is the Jack Fresco Venus project. But with regards to the narrative, the military industrial complex, the power, the shadow sides of government, the unseen contracts and covenants that they have, they're draining natural resources and telling us that we have to pay the ULEZ charges, we have to pay the beneficiaries, which is again torts, I would argue, torture, tort law, things like that. What we allow, they will go ahead. It's a bit like, I don't often quote David Icke and big up him, but he does say that they will get away with what they're allowed. It's until we actually stand up as one, they will only get away with what we allow. So to some extent, that's probably the only good thing that I will say that Icke has put out there with regards to reformation of society's cognitive thinking and moving into the fifth dimension of thinking, expanding consciousness, and moving with regards to logical progression of money, energy, because money is energy. It's not money, it's credit, but the credit system, the fiat currency we use, current, energy, supply, voltage, watts, amps, current. So the current, the charges, the credits that we're using we're getting them credits when we've inputted our energy. The output of us inputting our energy is then the credits that we get. So we have an outcome, not an income. The income is different streams of income, outcome, with regards to sweat equity, energy, getting credit. So again, it's all to harness energy. When we talk of energy, electricity, and this narrative, we can segue it back into the main focal point of our works over the years, which is to discharge the charges. Again, charges, electricity, cell, holding cell, battery, cell phone, cells. So again, it's the narrative, the language, the linguistics, the etymology, and the implied meanings and definitions are various to each, specific to each constitution of the institution that they are being used in. But generally, when we look at it, we can see the commonality, which then has a common thread between all of the various multifaceted factions and dimensions we speak about with regards to life, existence, credit, health, wealth, environment, charges, law, legal, discharging. It's incredible. It is the work we do and how our minds work and correlate, and we can bring these points together to back one another up. We can see the magic of the Magi, and it's no longer magic. It's more of a clandestine, nefarious curtailment of soul's energy. I yield. Thank you to the chat room. Thank you to everybody that's here. We're going on for nearly 3 hours, so I'd like to get ready for servitude tomorrow, sadly. I could do this for another 2-3 hours. To be fair, it's just going really well.
Well, we'll have to do it again soon then. I know we've had a break from it, but everybody's, you know, got shit to do these days, and it's not that we don't want to do it. It's just haven't got as much time to do as much because everybody's having a crisis and have got to go and earn a crust.
The bread. Yeah.
I'm not one of them, so I shouldn't really be saying that.
No, but Albert, me, have you and Gansders are on a different thread at the minute, on a different course, but
Not through choice.
I know, brother. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah, the chat room's been really great. Steve, I spoke to Graham just the other day. We were thinking of, well, we've mentioned coming back over to where we normally meet, but the arsehole at the moment is vehicles. Graham's not got a car because obviously that was the best thing because he doesn't drink anyway, so that was a right result for me. But he's up for coming, you know, meeting up, but we just got to suss out. I mean, for me, I've got the underground not far away. I can get on at Atton Cross. But yeah, so we were trying to suss it out. So it's not forgotten, mate. It was just logistics are a bit of a pain in the arse at the moment.
You get there, all good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, that's it. Then we get pissed and arrested and be a laugh.
It's past our bedtime, yes, Lisa. We're wrapping up. That was the long goodbye. Thank you to Anders, Albert, Kevin, Scribes, all your comments. Please share this video, thumbs up, the usual, and we will continue on. Now you know our next moves and where we're at. We are moving forward periodically, continuously improving, so we're still here. We're still fighting a corner against all odds in the face of adversity.
Yeah, Lisa, much love to you and James. Send James my regards and hope he's feeling better. I know the struggle with the pharmaceuticals, been there, nearly killed me twice out of all the things I've done in my life. So, yeah, and I've managed to get off the majority. And I'm much better for it, of course. So I can totally sympathise with having, you know, had to fuck around with that stuff. But Agent Orange, Jeebus Christos. Yes. I don't envy you for having to deal with that, but I do hope you're feeling better, James. I really do. I know we've not been in here much, but I do miss our interactions. But it's all good. Much love to you. Much love to everybody else in the room. Thanks for listening. Thanks for attending.
For your viewership.
Speak to you all soon.
Yeah.
Anders, Bert, do you want to say any final words?
Yes, I want to say I love you all, guys. You know, I love you all. And thanks for tonight here. And yeah, take care, everybody.
Take care.
Nice one, Anders. Big love to you, mate.
Final words are from Kamon. The seed of the serpent are cold-hearted and cold-blooded.
Yeah.
The seed of man is totally different to that. Warm-hearted, warm-blooded flesh. We're not personified. Essence of life incarnate into reality to help free humanity. Bosh. Thank you all. We'll be back soon. You know where we are. You know where to find us.
Love you all. Great seeing you. Thanks for attending. Albert, nice one. Anders, see you soon. Dave, I'll speak to you very soon. Love to you all.
Yep. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you. You three. Much love. And we'll speak soon. Thank you, Scribes. So ciao for now. Arrivederci. See you later. Thank you.